Welcome back. Dale Myers with Vision Advance. Today we're going to talk about benchmarking, measuring what matters. Benchmarking is the concept of comparing yourself to your competitors within your industry, those closest to you in your immediate environment, as well as those maybe a little further away but who are industry leaders, and perhaps you might want to emulate them. This is important because obviously you need to know, you think that you're doing well, but in order to have long-term viability, you have to be as good as or better than your competitors. So the way you do that is to compare yourself to your competitors. We have to do some internal and some external analysis. Now, in a recent video, we talked about when is the right time to emulate, copy, versus innovate to differentiate and separate ourselves. So there's a time and place for each, but right now we're talking about let me measure myself against you in different areas and see exactly where I stack up so that I can look for opportunities to improve, better serve my customers, all of these different things. Now, this is also important for brand new businesses. No, you don't have the sales data, but this should be a part of your market research to study benchmarking data on your industry to see, what should my sales goals be? What should my return on assets, equity, capital, whatever you're measuring, revenue, levels of customer service, what should they be if I want to be a market leader and industry leader? And you should want to be an industry leader if you want your business to have long-term viability. So when is a good time to benchmark? Whenever you realize that you haven't been measuring yourself. So as I record this, it's the middle of the year, and I was having a conversation with another entrepreneur and kind of had to explain this concept to him. So if you haven't done it, do it. Ideally, we would like to do it towards the end of the year so that when we're setting our business goals for next year, we can use the data that we got from this benchmarking. But again, remember, we're constantly measuring our business anyway. So you have the internal data that you need for your business. The only real work becomes, let me go out here and see what my competition is doing. All right. So let's see. One thing I would point out, some of you might say, well, that's for big businesses. Sure, major corporations do it because they understand the importance. I would argue that it's even more important for us to do it as small to medium-sized business owners because there are free tools out there that you can use, get the data. Look, success is really simple. Not easy, but simple. Emulate what others are doing to a point. Talk to enough customers to figure out what they want. How could they better be served, and then go do it. Okay, but again, let's measure ourselves against our competition. All right, 5 things that we need to do in order to measure our success. Step 1 is we need to know our key performance indicators, our KPIs. What are the real metrics that drive my business? And the thing is, this is different for every industry. I cannot tell you what's most important in your industry. You will have to do some research, and hopefully you have some experience in your industry, and you'll be able to have a better understanding. Is it again, let's say, obviously, if you're a retail seller, so sales volume, inventory turn, and things like that, and probably customer service will be drivers of success. If you're in the manufacturing business, then your processes and some supply chain components might be drivers. You have to dig into your business enough to find out what are the real drivers of success. That is step number 1. Number 2 is identify competition, and we already touched on this. Who in your immediate area do you compete with? What others around you, and even now again, you also want to kind of look at organizations initially that are of the similar size as you, but we do also want to look further out. But first, we're going to focus initially on those that are similar to us in size and strategic objectives. All right. Let's see. So that was research the competition. Step 3, we're going to research and assess what their strategic intent is. What are they doing to differentiate themselves? And I made a point here of some things you might want to look at. How are they seeking competitive advantage, and compare that to your internal efficiencies, the things that you're doing, some key components. Let's see, differentiator. As I was stating, what are they doing to try to differentiate themselves? And we're going to circle back around to that in a minute. All right, so that step number 1 was we're going to benchmark. We're going to look at what we're doing in the marketplace initially, determine our key performance metrics, our KPIs we call them. Step number 2, we're going to identify our competition. And after we identify them, step number 3, we're going to try to identify their strategic intent. The joys of YouTube doing a live, what can I say? Strategic intent. And now that we see what they're trying to do, now we're going to compare all of the data. And when we're talking about comparing data, we use widely publicly available salary data and information on the internet. That'll give us an idea of how we doing with our salary information. Industries have metrics out there regarding return on assets, return on equity, return on capital. There's lots and lots of free available information. You just have to go dig. It's literally, you put in key metrics for baking industry, key metrics or for benchmarking production facility. Just type it in a search engine, you'll get lots of results. From that, you begin to put together your own little system. And the last step, because that was step number 4, was use the benchmarking tools that are available. You develop an action plan. Develop an action plan based on what you saw. You look at your internal capabilities. What do you need to do differently? Excuse me. What do you need to do differently? What can we take advantage of? What do we need to improve? And then we chart the course and we develop action plans to achieve it. Remember, business is driving. We're looking left, looking right. We pause, we speed up. So all we're doing is getting this information to help us drive better. Hopefully make us drive a little faster if it's the time to go faster. So we set our goals, develop the action plans to achieve the goals, and we measure. Daily measurement of some things, weekly measurements of others, and then monthly and quarterly measurements thereafter. You have to be measuring. This whole segment today was about measuring what matters. Benchmarking is a good way to do it. I say it's vital that you do it. If you're not doing it, you need to look at it, which it simply means you're not doing as well as you ought to be. My name is Dale Myers with Vision Advance. Forgive me, I'm trying to fight the sneezing and stuff here. If you found this video helpful, please thumbs up, like the video, share it with someone. Stay tuned. We have a marketing series coming up. I'm so excited. In the questions below, what are you doing to benchmark your industry? What are you doing to stand out? Leave a comment below. We'll talk soon. Take care.